So let's check out this meat thermometer from Meter. So this one, it stays in whatever meat you're cooking while you're cooking. You're just gonna plug it in all the way past this line right here. How's it go past that line? So we're gonna kind of stick it not to the bone. If I put it on the bone, that'll give me, I think, a too low temperature reading as I do it. So we're just gonna stick it all the way into this tomahawk steak, pre-seasoned with, here we go. Perfect. Stick it all the way up to there. That's good. Season with Slap Your Mama. Because this is a very thick steak, as you can see, it's a very thick tomahawk. You absolutely want to season it well. So I've coated as good as I can. And so it is going to be ready to cook. Now, I didn't actually coat this part over here. The reason why I like Slap Your Mama, well, a friend of mine put me on to Slap Your Mama. It's a good Cajun seasoning that we really like. I don't use salt because it already has salt in it, but a good coating of Slap Your Mama. Here I'm not going to put as much because it's on the bone, and if I put too much on it, it'll just taste too salty down here. At least that's what the kids that eat the bone say. So I don't want to put too much on the bone area, but the rest, nice, and a whole bunch of it because you're going to slice through it and it's only going to be on the edges. Won't be noticeable. So now that you put the thermometer in, we are going to put this into our preheated oven. It's at 275 degrees Fahrenheit for a nice slow cook so that we're going to reverse sear it when it's done. So all you need to do is put the thermometer in and then pop it into the oven. So now the directions set at 275 is going to take about an hour, but I don't need to set my timer because the thermometer itself will tell me when it gets to the right temperature. So this is where the meat thermometer comes in. It comes in this little case. You can see it's actually magnetic on the back and front, so if you wanted to stick it to something metallic, it will stick. And that's usually where I stick it, to the side of the refrigerator. So it's always sitting there, out of the way. When you put in the battery, you push in this thing, open up the back, and you can see there is a battery you got to put in. That's what charges it, and you can see it's actually what charges the meter here, the meat thermometer. Also, that backing is also magnetic. So when you put it in, it just kind of stays in place. So now what this is your receiver. This is where the thermometer is now sending signals to this device. And that's going to send signals to your phone. So here's my phone. I've already opened up the Meter app, and this is how I'm going to keep track. So we're going to have to put on Start Cook. So we're going to set, right now it's telling my internal temperature is 41.8 degrees. Came out of the refrigerator. Ambient's 111 right now. Ambient temperature is 140 here now, so the oven is heating up. So we're going to set a target temperature. So again, so this, I could call it beef or whatever I want. I want to cook, let's just say I want to cook beef. I want to call it a steak. It's actually, since it's so thick, we're actually going to call it a roast. Oh, look at all those things we have here. See, already set here. We're going to, none of these is really exactly what we want. Let's see if we go back to steak, see if there's something different. Sirloin, ribeye, flank, T-bone, tomahawk. Oh yeah, tomahawk right there. And now we can see which one we're using. We're going to use an oven. And it wants to go 140. Nah, it's too high for us. We're a good 130 should be good. Because then we're going to finish it off afterwards. So you can see it tells you where it's going to be. What temperature you're going to have at. So you set your temperature, and then you click on the Start Cook button. Yeah, so we already inserted the meat probe. It tells you where you got to insert it into, in between the black line and that little line I showed you before. I click on Start Cook. And again, it gives you some directions on it. We're going to skip all that. Yep. And now here it is. It's set out. Here is your current temperature right here. Here's your target temperature at 130. There's the ambient temperature, 121. It's actually set at 275, so we'll see how that works out. And eventually, after it goes for a while, it's going to tell you how long it's going to take for this meat to get done. It'll give you an estimate. The one thing, though, that I know is that you have to keep your phone close to the actual meter thing right here. Because when I've gone upstairs with my phone, it disconnected. So I couldn't see the cook time, the cook temperature. So you gotta be wary that you have to be somewhere nearby enough so that your phone and the app can match with the meter container right here. Okay, so now when it comes closer to time cooking, you see the ambient temperature is going up. You open the door, of course, air comes out. Now it's at 125. So we're gonna wait for it to be done. And when it becomes done, we'll come back and see what the meat looks like. The ambient temperature now says 226. It says right now internal temperature is 61 degrees and the target is 130. So it says it's going to take you 59 minutes for your steak to be cooked. So now you have an estimate of time so you can relax while your phone's going to tell you. In fact, the setting is such that it's going to let you know. If you click on the alarm button, you can set, it's going to let you know 5 minutes before the cook ends, and it's going to estimate the ready as well. So that's one thing it's going to do. And the other thing is, if you want to take a look, this is an image of where it's taking the temperature. Here's the temperature of the steak, and here is the temperature of the oven. So it's around, it's not at 270, even though we said 270, probably is a little bit because it's contacting the meat as well, so it's keeping it a little cooler than 275 that actually is in the oven. But so it gives you the ambient temperature around the steak, and it gives you the current temperature inside the steak. It's going to estimate it's going to take it another 59 minutes before it's done. So about another hour. So we'll come back about an hour and see how well it's done. So when the meat is at your target degree, you'll see it'll tell you to remove from the heat. And it has the internal temperature 131, which is my target heat, a little above it, 130 today. So we're going to go ahead and remove it. The phone is vibrating because it is time to remove it from the heat. So let's take a look at what it looks like. So now that I've taken the tomahawk out, you can see it knows that it's resting. How does it know it's resting? Because the ambient temperature has dropped dramatically. So you can see there's the degrees, and there it goes. It was nice and warming up, the ambient temperature of the oven. Now, boom, it drops significantly, so it knows that the steak has been taken out. So now it knows it's time to rest. There it is. So it says it is resting. And it keeps telling you what the internal temperature is until you take it out. And we're about to take it out right now. So you can see it says, whoops, it's resting right now. Thermometer is still in. I would not touch the thermometer. It is really hot. It's over 130 degrees, that thermometer is. So what you have to do is you have to stick something in. And if you're ready to take it out, you can just slide it right out. Now here's the thermometer. You will want to clean it. Clean it in just some regular water. Aha, now see it says it's ready. Why? Because I took the thermometer out. And it thinks, you know, that the target meat has, the internal temperature has really dropped to 121. So it says it's ready to eat. You can leave it in there while it's resting. If you want, it'll tell you when it's done. But I'm just going to take it out because we're going to process this meat over a nice flame. Now that the tomahawk steak is nice and cooked on the inside to our likeness, according to the meat thermometer, we're going to check it in the end. You do want to make a nice crust on it. It'll make it taste better if you caramelize the meat a little bit. So there are a couple ways you can use a nice cast iron skillet, put a little bit of oil inside, heat it up really high temperature, and just make a nice crust that way. That's one great way to do it. Another way you can do it is you can put the broiler in the oven. That'd be my third way. But we're going to do it the way that I want to do it today, which is going to put it on a nice barbecue. The coal barbecue. That's going to create a nice crust and give it the smoky flavor from the coals that we didn't get from the smokiness from no smoke in just a regular oven. So let's go out and put it on the coals. But we're going to finish this off on the grill. Yeah, I want to get that nice smoky flavor going, so we're just going to take our big tomahawk steak, put it right over the hot part, and just let that brown up over the smoke. I'll get that smoky flavor on the outside to make it taste even better than it would if you did it in a skillet. So we can get the fat from the tomahawk flowing to the grill. You can see the flames underneath the coals. I didn't spread the coals a lot because I didn't want them to spread out. Just wanted to get a nice little crust on it. Don't want to really cook it. We're just going to flip it over. See, the fat is getting really charred. The rest of the tomahawk is going to pick up some of that brown coloring as well. We're looking for a nice brown coloring. The fat will get a little charred because that's what fat does. Looking for that nice brown coloring.
Yeah.
So when the flames get really high like that and too hot, you can move it around to another part of the coals. Make sure you don't really just flame it too much. We want a nice brown. We don't want it to be black. So we keep moving it around. Make sure the flames don't burn your steak to shreds. Again, flames are coming up. One thing you also want to do with this tomahawk, since it's really thick steak, make sure that it's stand on its edge for a while and get the nice crust on the side, because you want the crust all over the steak. Don't worry about the flames too much. As long as you get a nice crust on it, it's going, oh, look at that flaming up. It's all that fat on the steak. Just move it away. And make sure you get the sides nice and crusty too. So now we're going to tomahawk. So you cut it off the bone first. Now in our family, the bone part is the part that the wife really likes. She likes to eat the bone. The daughter too. They like the bone part, so they have to fight for that. You can see the redness in there. That is a nice 130 degrees. And we got the char on the outside from what we did on the barbecue. So let's now turn around. Let's take a look at the actual steak. And let's go ahead and cut through this wonderful tomahawk to see how well that thermometer works. Did it work really well? So we're going to cut off different parts of it. You know, the real meat center here part is the real part that's most of the tomahawk. This is just a little side part, very fatty. You can see the side part. We can cut through that as well, but let's cut through the meat, the heart of the real tomahawk, the ribeye with the bone in it. Let's take a look. And I will say that thermometer did a wonderful job. Take a look at that beautiful, beautiful 130 degree medium rare using the barbecue with a high heat. We got a nice crust on top. I bet this is going to taste phenomenal. But don't take my word for it. Let's see what my kids think. Okay, Teddy, it's your favorite steak, the tomahawk. Let's see how good it is cooked this way.
Let's find out. Oh. I feel like the steak overall like kind of has less flavor, but I do like the chard on the edges. Really, like the interior of the steak doesn't have much, but really just right on the edges is when you really taste the flavor. It's always very tender, as tomahawks are, very easy to chew and eat. What about you, Dominic?
Yeah, I just love that char flavor on the outside. That just adds to the, the regular flavor of the rest of the steak. You can see there's lots of fat, as is always with tomahawks. Lots of fat layer in there. Also adds a layer, but yeah, it's the edge. You gotta char it somehow. And you may not believe it or not, but when it's charred over smoky coals like this, there's absolutely a difference that you can taste as compared to when I put it in a skillet, or when I put it over a gas grill, or if I just use the broiler or the oven. It has that smokiness that you just can't get from other methods of cooking. What do you think?
I think my dad's spot on. It really does taste like, whatever that smell of that feel from the grill. That's exactly what you're getting from this. I really like it.
So if you like a really specific doneness, use that meat thermometer. It worked really well. Got the perfect doneness for us. A nice, perfect 130 degrees. Get a nice medium rare, maybe a little more rare. And then do the outside. Do the outside on a grill, barbecue. It just makes it that much better. So yeah, the reverse sear method is a really good and easy way, especially if you got this meat thermometer that can tell you how it's done and when it's done. Very great way to cook steak. I really highly recommend this meat thermometer. It's great.